We cut it off. We're
No
in.
No intro. Yeah. Woo!
Oh, man. Of course I did that too, guys. But welcome into the Big Factor. I cut off the intro for Ryan, but honestly, guys, it's been a little minute. I'm Pat McGuire. I'm not Ryan Smith. Jack O'Rourke over there, Nick Padone, Joey Pfaff, and Tyler and Rob Watson over there, guys. How are we feeling today?
Man, good to be back in here. Good to have power again downtown Cleveland. I will say the airport, Burke Lakefront Airport, Pat, I'll be honest with you. I'll keep it a buck. I was sweating on if we were ever going to have this studio ever again. I really thought that they could have just called curtains on this entire operation. Power goes out. If they, had any difficulty getting it back on, I really thought it could have been a wrap for us. But alas, we are here. We're back in studio. Still no air conditioning in here, so very hot. We'll all be sweated through our shirts by the end of the program, but here we are.
Nick, you look better in that City Connect jersey than about half the guys on that friggin' roster. That's about all I got for you
Jack,
this morning.
Let me tell you why, bro. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play.
Grab the bat when you go down there tonight.
If that's what it takes to
grab
get
a
these
bat.
bats
Undo
on
the
fire.
top button. Grab a bat.
Bro,
get some gloves.
Not just the bat. I want to be standing firmly in right field, ready to go.
If I pulled up to the game and I saw you standing there,
I want to see you get a little Dustin Pedroia ready hop in there on each pitch. I'm fired up.
When Gavin Williams takes the mound, you guys will see me out there in right field in my stance, ready to go for any fly balls that comes my way.
letting them know how many we
But
got.
in the
Yeah,
order,
give him a-
dude.
Hey,
in the
check the
order-
card.
in
I know
the
Bayerga
order,
doesn't like
dude,
it, but check that card.
in the order, I'm trying to give Jose a little bit of support. I'm trying to be
Protect
that
him a
bat.
little bit,
Where
yeah.
are you at? Which hole are you hitting?
Someone's got to hit in the 2-hole, Rob. Someone's going to have to do it eventually.
This lineup, yeah, and I got a little speed on the base pass, put me in that 2 spot
Ricky
right now.
Henderson.
What's your walk-up song?
Okay. Oh,
My
good
walk
question.
up, dude. I feel like we talk about it all the time.
We do, but I never remember the answers.
do
I
I
think I
have to
ask all
steal-
my friends every single day.
Do I have to steal it from Plesac and go call my
That's a
Spirit
good
by
one.
Kodak?
Put the heart in your lyrics.
Ooh, okay.
I gave it
Zach
all. That's
Plesac,
pretty
man.
good.
Yeah.
A blast from the past.
So
Good
ready
boy.
to go. Guards tonight. I mean, jeez, this baseball team stinks out loud. I hate to say that, because the starting pitching has been much improved. As a whole. Last night a little bit rough, but you start losing these games now against these teams that you could be contending with for wild card spots, and that's when it starts to get late real early.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, honestly, we lost 10-5 yesterday against the Blue Jays, and just when you see Lane Thomas get a home run, at least a little bit
Felt
of
like
life,
you were
a
back
little
in the
bit of
game,
life,
yeah.
right? And then, just give up a grand slam to George Springer. I was walking my ass out the gates in the 8th inning. So, but honestly, too, we got Big Rig on the mound tonight. I think it was as well. The large rig, Rob. I think we called him.
The largest
of the rigs.
Safe to say
Hey.
he's the biggest. The
Hey.
largest. Yeah.
Safe to say, but I don't know if we're feeling any better for the rest of the series. It was crazy to see Andres Jimenez playing well and Miles Straw in Progressive Field too. But brutal series. We got to get one tonight though, at least for the Guards.
Hope so. Gotta salvage.
Save it for the promotion segment.
Yeah, save it for the promotion. But
What?
honestly, I hope
Oh,
so.
yeah,
Chase
yeah, I
DeLauder's
know
got
what
to
you're
be up
talking
here.
about.
Chase DeLauder's got to be up here soon. But Nick, you're saying it before the show too. We got more important things to talk about too. The NBA draft is tonight. So are you going to be leaving the Guards game early? Or you're headed over there with that City Connect jersey on, but you might be leaving early.
Poor planning on my part. Really bad planning.
Just chalk
what are you
night.
gonna
Not
do?
locked
What are you
in
gonna
at
do?
all.
I hate to.
Is this a schedule loss out of you tonight?
I hate
Yes.
to say it, bro.
Putting
Like
yourself behind the 8-ball before you even get the day started.
that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna be at the game, kind of half paying attention, which I don't like to do. I go to a baseball game. I want to be locked in, keeping score. No, I'm just kidding. But I do like to at least have a general idea of what's going on. But no, I'm gonna be wanting to watch this NBA draft. If it's a bad game, I might even split out a little bit early, especially if it's hot down there tonight. I don't know what the weather forecast is gonna look like, but. It's one of those drafts where it starts at 8. The beauty of the NBA draft is it says that it starts at 8. That Cooper Flag pick probably won't be announced by 8:35.
The pick is in right now. We already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, I don't have to start paying attention to the NBA draft till 8:35. I imagine, barring something, nothing crazy going on, that Dylan Harper will go 2 to San Antonio. So I got a little time. I see Rob eyeing me up over there, but I think the draft really won't get started until 9.
Nick, my favorite thing too is I'm just imagining, just based off of the way you operate, just being at a standing room spot in the ballpark where your car is visible from where you're at, and just Gavin Williams walks the first 2 hitters, and you kind of
Then he
Give
gets
Cam a little
rocked
look, and then
for a
like you
3-run
see like the
shot.
lights go on in the Tesla, like engine going. Just one more guy
start
gets
that
on
bad
base,
boy.
you're the hell out of there.
No, I'm going with my dad tonight. I'm going with my dad
okay.
tonight. It's his Father's Day gift.
Oh,
so
there you go.
I'm tough.
gonna have
Your
to
dad
see
is
it
one of my
through.
favorite Cleveland Guardians fans at the moment.
So I'll tough it out as long as he wants to tough it out. We were there at opening day. It was like the antithesis of what the weather's been like these last couple of days. It was freezing. And like 6th inning, we got nachos. They were like cold by the time we even got back to the seat.
Brutal.
And my dad was like, "Hey, let's pick through these and then we can get the hell up out of here." So we'll see. Maybe the same thing will be tonight. If it's a bad game and if it's too hot, he might want to split. But I'll leave that up to him.
You got to respect it though, because honestly, there's not that many storylines. Like it's minus probably 10,000 or 20,000 that, you know, we've got the number 1 overall pick, just like we did with the Victor Wembanyama draft a couple of years ago, where the top of the draft isn't going to have a lot of storylines to it. But Ace Bailey, some other guys in there, that's where it got kind of interesting, Rob, too, because like Ace Bailey's trying to do the Caleb Williams thing where he's not going to interview with teams. He's not going to work out for teams. I don't know what you made of that.
I don't get what he's trying to do with that. Okay, I do understand. Because in the NBA, the location is actually like, I think possibly more important than it is for football. Because we saw the number 3 pick last year playing in the G League for half the season, which is insane, bro. But they're clearing it up for Reed Shepherd. They want to see him play next year. I don't know though. For Ace Bailey, he didn't have the best year. Like he had a solid year at Rutgers, but they didn't win much. We know he's a talented guy; he could score. But I kind of want to see what team he wants to force himself to. Like, is it Charlotte? Does he want to go play with LaMelo? Does he want to avoid Philly? Because I don't think that's the best spot for him. I'm not sure. But I don't think it's a good thing. I like to see the players just let the process happen. You'll go where you need to go, trusting your plan, trusting yourself, trusting what you have as a player.
CBS Sports mock draft has
He
him going
kinda-
6 to the Wizards.
Okay.
He has a chance to be like an all-time name in one way or another when it comes to draft lore, just off the fact that like you come in and the whole allure about this kid is that he's 6'10" as a shooting guard, which like you rarely, if ever, see. It comes out okay when he takes his shoes off. He's actually like 6'7" and a half,
He is not
6'8".
6'10".
So now we're looking at like, okay, now he's DeAndre Hunter without a jump shot. But hey, I mean, there's still a chance like when you have a kid who is still this size, like if he does come around and develop his shot, like obviously he's already a decent rebounder, like he's a okay playmaker for his size as well. Like there's a chance you could see a really, really special talent out of this kid. But yeah, with like saying like, hey, maybe he's not going to go to certain places. Like, yeah, you kind of bring it upon yourself when you enter draft day and this kind of stuff comes up. And I don't know, like even like if you have more sure options at guard, or maybe not sure, but like, you know what, you probably have a better idea of what Dylan Harper or VJ Edgecombe are going to be, whereas Ace Bailey's more of a wild card for better or worse. Like maybe more of a safe option makes sense.
Bleacher Report also has him going 6 to the Washington Wizards.
And I can see
How about
why
the
he would want
Wizards?
to.
Poor Wizards, man.
He's a kid that wants to shoot the ball. He can shoot though. I think he's a good scorer. But if he's gonna be called onto a team that like the Philly could be in playoff contention next year, like his role would be heavily diminished. So I can see wanting to avoid that. I wouldn't mind seeing him in San Antonio if he could learn to play within the system. That's one of the things. Ace will take some terrible shots, but he can score. So I mean, if he goes to Washington, he might score 30 a night somehow, just chucking like SGA and then. But
Jordan Poole, honestly.
no, he just got traded.
All
Yeah,
right,
I know, right? But like, he shoots just
yeah,
like Jordan
yeah.
Poole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing too. Is like, there's not a lot of storylines too, other than up at the top of the draft, Ace Bailey and those guys. But
USA Today has him going 4 to
I
the
do
Hornets.
have
Interesting.
I do have
Okay.
some hypotheticals though.
Okay.
I think after the flag pick we might see some movement. I don't know what San Antonio is going to do, because I think Dylan Harper's an amazing player, but I don't know if I want to see him play next to De'Aaron Fox.
The
I don't know if
fit
that
is
works.
weird, especially because they have so many young players. You know, like what's that mean
Package
for
deal.
what's that mean for Castle? What's that mean for
That's what I'm
Vassell?
saying. They
What's
already got
yeah,
so many
the
guards.
Dylan Harper fit is a little bit strange, but Rob, that is like my one fear because I'm going in the guards tonight. Is
When that
I would
Giannis trade drops,
Yeah.
you gonna miss it, bro. You want
Yeah.
to miss that.
my fear is that something crazy around the association goes down. That's beyond the NBA draft, because I feel like for the most part the draft will kind of fall in line with what we expect. But yeah, Shams Charania reporting that the Boston Celtics also listening to offers on Jaylen Brown.
They're tearing it down.
Yeah.
They're really, and he's been a guy that's talked about. It's not like he'll ever come out and say it, but it's the subtle things he says about I'm the best at this. I feel like he wants to prove himself as a player, and I like what the organization Boston's doing. They were about to enter that second apron. They knew Tatum's
We're
out.
not
We're not
competing next
for
year. It
anything.
doesn't matter.
Clear
Had to.
it out. And, if they tank and then next year they're in the talks for like a player like Debansa that could be coming out, like I agree. And Jaylen Brown is someone that could go help a team contend now this year. So, I mean, I don't know if how you guys feel about that, but if I'm the Cavs in Boston just thinking about trading them, I would go knock on that door, bro. I would want to see what they're talking about.
Could you imagine DeBasanta, the culture shock going from BYU to Boston?
He's
If
from
he-
around there,
Yeah,
though,
he's
I
from
think,
around
but-
there. Okay, so
Yeah, he's from Massachusetts.
okay. The culture shock going from Massachusetts to BYU and potentially back there would be hilarious. But honestly, the
I
Celtics are
still
trying to
love
get out of the
NIL. How cool is it that BYU is just like, fuck it,
on the
$6
map
million,
somewhere.
really good
There's a lot of
basketball team.
conspiracy about him going to Utah somehow,
Yeah,
though, that
yeah.
they're really trying to get him locked in. But I don't know.
I could see that.
We shall see. You know, Adam Silver's word will be final on who goes where.
Good,
but-
quick. This kind of relates to the NBA draft because this happened during draft week, I believe. But speaking of like weird NBA draft stuff in Utah, what's Kyle Filipowski up to?
It was a weird. That's I don't know. I don't think he had the greatest year.
Do you think that gutted him? That whole story coming out?
I don't know. I mean,
I
it was
forgot
just
about
it was
that.
an
I'm
Yeah,
odd,
I
He
think
was
that
a
could
late
do
round
you in.
pick. He was
it
a
was
late
a
round pick
odd
too.
situation.
yeah.
The whole thing because he was supposed to go higher. It was really weird. Hopefully, I think he's still a talented guy. He could bounce back. Maybe a year out of the spotlight will be good for him. But that was. I wonder what will be like the story this year. That's like him dropping because of that weird.
Oh, it's coming. There'll be
situation.
something today.
There'd be something today. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. Hopefully Nick doesn't get too distracted by the guards game. But we got a couple of things coming up here. We got
Won't be while we're hitting.
won't be while we're hitting. It'll be
Right.
pretty calm and serene over there at Progressive Field. Hopefully we get a couple runs. But
They might
Hear
as
a
well
pin
just
drop.
put the draft up on the come on,
Might as
and,
well.
and you
Yeah,
can just
have the little
let
draft
the
board.
yeah have the draft
Wait.
up there and then let the PA
No betting for your Cleveland Guardians. The catcher, number 23. We like to pause
Cooper
for a
Flag.
quick interruption.
Cooper
The San
Flag has
Antonio
been
Spurs
great.
first select VJ Edgecombe.
it's like at the Brown Stadium when they interrupted my Journey concert with a trade for Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Trading away Travis Hunter. But speaking of the Browns, though, guys, we got some more Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel to get into. We'll be right back on The Big Factor.
I'll be in my seat like that.
Over the wall.
Welcome on back to the Big Factor. Got to tell you guys about our friends over at Fairway Ford. It's a short trip that you guys got to take to Canfield. We'll be taking that short trip to Canfield on Friday. We're doing a live show from Fairway Ford to show you guys just how close that it is and just how close that you can be to saving thousands of dollars on your new truck. They're family owned and operated for over 20 years. Employee pricing for all. You pay less than what their employees pay. They have a full lot of F-150s, F-250s, Raptors, Mavericks, Broncos. Go check them out, fairwayfordohio.com. We want to see you guys out there with us on Friday for the Factor, live from Fairway Ford, live from a Ford Bronco. I heard we're going to be allowed to have a little bit of fun in the Broncos.
Wow.
Okay.
The juice
Man,
is loose.
Love that. Speaking of cars, though, Shadur Sanders, guys, where do you want to dive back into that? Because the speeding ticket has been beaten to death. We don't
Yeah,
really need to talk
geez,
about-
are we still talking about this?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't think we really are, but we got a little bit of a. Do you think we're gonna have a little bit of a quarterback battle talking Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's what this season is about. You know, I don't really still understand fully where Kenny Pickett fits into this thing.
He doesn't.
doesn't.
My
Exactly.
path for this, guys, it really should be as simple as you throw Joe Flacco out there as a little bit of a meat shield. You know, I hate to say it, but the first part of the schedule is really tough. You got the Bengals at home. I think that's a winnable game with Joe Flacco. But then you're going to Baltimore. Then you've got the Green Bay Packers. You've got some very difficult games. You got to go
Lions
across
after,
the
right?
Lions. Then you're going across the pond. Then you're going to Pittsburgh, a place where you haven't won a regular season game since the early 2000s. Like, I know that the organization wants Kenny Pickett to be this reclamation project, but the thing about reclamation projects are you've usually got to have something to begin with. And for Kenny Pickett, I've never really...
What's he reclaiming?
I've never really seen him play high-level football, and I think for Dillon Gabriel and for Shedeur Sanders, you're not really learning anything from a guy that hasn't proved anything in the National Football League, whereas I think they could learn how Flacco handles himself on a weekly basis. Say week 2, they go to Baltimore and Flacco completely collapses. You know, worst case scenario comes true where he throws 3 interceptions, a strip sack fumble, and it's just a complete embarrassment of a game. I still think there's something for Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to learn, because Flacco's not going to let that get him too low, and he'll be level-headed enough to be back on his game for week 3 against the Packers. Whereas Kenny Pickett, I don't know. If that meltdown happens against Baltimore, it could snowball.
Oh, yeah, it could. Good avalanche,
Gabriel and Shedeur aren't learning anything in that realm, in that world. I've also been on the record, too, and I want to continue to put this out there. I think it's significant, and it didn't get talked enough about, that we were talking about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel getting actual 7-on-7, 11-on-11 snaps in voluntary OTAs. That doesn't really happen. Those practices are typically for installs. You're still learning the playbook. Something tells me, there's a bug in my ear that's telling me that they're getting these guys ready to go. They're getting these guys ready to play sooner than what the fans might realize, because you got to see if you've got something in either of these two dudes, or if they're just going to be backup quarterback or project pieces. And you could go to the Drew Aller card in 2026.
Where would we be as a country if Kenny Pickett never did that fake slide, man? We would be in such a better spot,
dude,
bro.
He didn't even do it on purpose. That's the crazy part too. Like, you think he had that move ready to go? I don't think he did, bro.
He didn't. But I've been seeing in all the reports I see, I haven't heard a peep about him looking good.
Right.
So this is where this whole thing just continuing to seem very.
No one's heard that in his NFL career.
The thing is, right, and the thing, here's what scares me about it, right, is I have the faith in Kevin Stefanski, I truly do, that push comes to shove, they could make Kenny Pickett look passable. They could make him look like a game manager where he's got Njoku involved, where he's got Judkins catching passes out of the backfield, and he could look competent enough with those 4th down passes that are short of the sticks. You know, he's completing balls. He's not making turnover-worthy plays. But again, you're not learning anything there. You could have a game manager quarterback, and say they do that. You know, say they let Kenny Pickett be a game manager, and we're going to talk Madden ratings later in the show. Like, the Browns have an 87 overall roster. This is a good roster.
Can't be true.
It's a good roster. There's some players on it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pay Kenny Pickett $20 million? Go look
$20 million.
Go look up what Sam Darnold just got paid. The difference is Sam Darnold played good football at USC.
And
he
always
played
had
some
arm
good
talent.
football with the Jets. There was
I didn't
always
hear
talent
generational
in there.
prospect about Kenny Pickett, guys.
Right.
Did not hear that. The funny thing too is, like, the Browns traded a 5th for Kenny Pickett, but honestly, I saw on Twitter last night that it's the same meme of, like, doesn't work but could be fun to fix. Like, Jeffrey Lurie had a garage sale in the front yard and got a 5th for him. I think that was that tweet, right?
Yeah, that's
From
the dumb
Daniel
thing.
Jeremiah, right?
And it's also it's just the fact that Kenny Pickett touched the Eagles organization, and Andrew Berry's obsessed with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get, like, the people who, and I understand saying, like, yeah, like, Flacco's older, you'll never get anything out of him. Maybe Pickett could turn into something. But the people who are like, oh, you traded for him, you can't get rid of him. You traded assets for him. How valuable was a 5th round pick in DTR? DTR sucked.
Yeah.
Like, how often does a 5th round pick work out? Like, who cares you traded a 5th round pick in DTR for him?
And to go back to what Daniel Jeremiah's report or whatever he put out saying that one of the rookies might start, I don't want to see that still. Like you were saying, I just do not. I want to see them get enough reps, but like we've talked, 4 to 5 games for each rookie will be more than enough, and there will be plenty of time later in the season to get those reps, let them play. But to start them off, I don't want to see them go out against, X. They'll actually probably look good against Cincy, but I don't want to see them play Detroit, lose 62-0, throw 6 interceptions, and then their confidence is just wrecked for the rest of your career, bro.
And here's my question for you, though, too, guys, is like, what would you have to see out of Dillon Gabriel in game to know that he's better than Shedeur Sanders? Because I know there's so much more hype around Shedeur Sanders, but Dillon Gabriel, he can throw the ball around a little bit. Like, he played fairly well in the second half of that Rose Bowl. I know that's kind of like the last taste that we all have of Oregon football and what he kind of was in college. But I mean, what would you have to see out of Dillon Gabriel to be convinced that he's worth bringing back?
That's kind of the prisoner's dilemma of the situation of drafting 2 quarterbacks is you want Dillon Gabriel to do well. Everyone wants Dillon Gabriel to do well. I think secretly, though, if you ask most of the fan base, they kind of want Shedeur Sanders to be the one to do well. So that kind of creates that interesting, Brian Hoyer playing halfway decent football, but everyone wants to see Johnny play, and you got a couple wins over 500. Not that this year's team is going to be doing that, but what if regardless of how you start, Dillon Gabriel comes in, wins a couple of games, then looks really bad? There's going to be half the fan base calling for, okay, I've seen enough, now throw Shedeur in. It's a lost year, who cares? And there's going to be half of the, okay, he had one bad game, let's get Dillon Gabriel the rest of his look. It's kind of hard, in baseball, you can manage a way to get Rocchio and Arias at bats in the same season at the same position and get a look at both of them. You can't really do that and mess with a guy in football and in a position like quarterback where there's one guy. You can't have the whole 2 quarterbacks.
Here's the thing, though. They didn't like any of the quarterbacks in this class at all. They viewed Dillon Gabriel as a 3rd-round pick, number 94 overall, as a smart guy that they wanted in the building as a 10-year backup. They want Dillon Gabriel to be Colt McCoy. So I don't think the Browns themselves would even be stunned if Dillon Gabriel, if he doesn't set the world on fire, it falls in line with what their expectations were and what their thoughts and evaluation was on this NFL draft class after Cam Ward. The Shedeur thing is really the lottery ticket, because if you draft Dillon Gabriel as the 10-year backup, it's a guy that they're going to want in the organization for a minute. It's a guy that's not going anywhere, probably regardless of how he plays. But the Shedeur thing is a wild card in the sense of there's going to be a time where they're going to have to put that dude on the field. They're going to have to put him on the field in a preseason game. And if he looks good, the chatter is only going to grow longer, and the leash on whoever is named the starting quarterback is going to shrink. Whether it's Pickett, whether it's Flacco, whether I get my way or I don't, if Shedeur looks good in the preseason, nothing matters, because people are going to want to get to the inevitable, because you know that Shedeur, now that it's house money, is truly your best path off this Deshaun Watson thing, because you could cleanse your hands of that June 1st, 2026 next year, and then you've completely reset your organization with Brock Purdy, not just a quarterback on a rookie deal, but a quarterback on a 5th-round salary rookie deal, and then it's load up time. It's what you did in 2018 when you had Baker Mayfield and you had the cap space and the assets to be able to pay guys like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, build everything around Shedeur Sanders. So Shedeur is the lottery ticket that could really get them out of this hell that they've created for themselves.
Yeah, and ideally at that point too, the running backs are coming into their own as well, Judkins and Sampson. But guys, that's a lot to look forward to, but I don't know if I'm still holding my breath on Dillon Gabriel being 5'9" or whatever he is behind there. Because if we looked at some of the throws he had in mini camp, it didn't look great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we see in training camp. But if you had to get gut pick right now, who's going to play more games this season, Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders?
I would pick Gabriel, but I just think that's them protecting who they picked.
Yeah.
But the cherry on top to what all they were saying is just we know what he is. I feel like this not a high ceiling. You're looking at what he came as is what he's going to be. Maybe he's smart, he'll see the game, but he won't ever be that guy that could maybe translate how smart he is about the game onto the field.
There's no elite traits in Dillon Gabriel.
Shedeur is the quarterback who has all the potential, who has the highest ceiling. So you're going to want to see him play. And if they waste it and they don't play him at all, the fans are going to be mad. That just is what it is. At some point, they're going to have to put him out there, see what he's got, especially if we see glimpses, like Nick said, in preseason. If he's got the flair, he's got the confidence that you need to be a successful quarterback in Cleveland, you got to have that personality. You got to have that belief in yourself, which we haven't seen a lot of guys have. He's got that as a young guy. So, yeah, like you said, too, all the fans are going to want to see what he has. Just don't rob us of that, at least. Now that he's here and everyone wants to see it, we got to at least see what he has at some point.
And the thing is, if he's a complete joke, they could say they could actually
it was
say
a 5th-round pick.
No one's going to blame him for
They
it.
could actually say, well, we were right. This class was so bad. We were right. We didn't take him number 2 overall. We were going to take Travis Hunter. We liked him better. We thought Travis Hunter made Shedeur at Colorado. We traded back. We got an extra 1st-round pick next year. We got Mason Graham. We got Judkins out of that move. And then we couldn't pass up on him at 144, made a deal with the Eagles. Really, guys, I heard the reason why they made that deal with Philadelphia is Andrew Berry hates having 6th and 7th round picks because he believes they're a waste of his time, and he would rather get on his phone and start working the UDFA phone lines.
Yeah.
He wants to get the best undrafted free agents for the best price, and you're prohibited from talking to those people if you've got to be locked in on the 6th and 7th round of the NFL draft. So they were able to take those 7th rounders, trade up to 144, and punch a lottery ticket that ultimately is Shedeur Sanders. So we'll have to see what happens, but I still do think that Shedeur, it should be as seamless as Joe Flacco starts the first 6 games. You hand it over to Shedeur Sanders. That's the game.
Just don't let it carry on into next year. That's the last thing anyone wants to see. Have it all figured out by the next draft. That's all I care about.
It's going to be an interesting one, too, because all 3 of the Browns' preseason games are going to be carried live on NFL Network. So anyone check right in. I know that doesn't matter, but
Quarterback
it's going to be
Bachelor.
kind of fun. Quarterback Bachelor. But, guys, we're talking
Let's
about...
go. Let's get like the big play crew out some preseason
I think there's only
games.
one home game, right? But
that's fine.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it, guys. It's
Watch
right
them
down the
not
street.
give them snaps.
Yeah,
Game.
talking about
Great
the young
seats
guys
will
on the
be
Browns.
available.
Great seats will still be
Yeah,
available.
August 23rd against the Rams at
Man.
1 o'clock.
Might be
kinda
the Super
crazy
Bowl.
it's
What day
coming
of the
out,
week
dude.
is that?
Friday, I
August
think.
23rd.
I think it's a
It's
Friday.
gotta be a weekend at 1.
No way at 1.
Oh, on Saturday then?
It's a Saturday at 1.
I thought first game's on a Friday. I know that, but
Is that a college football Saturday?
Who cares?
You might have lost
we got
me if it's college
Shedeur
football
Sanders,
Saturday.
bro.
You might have lost me if it's college football Saturday.
I don't
week 0,
think
I think.
so.
August 23rd is week 0.
Oh, week 0 is the best week.
Week 0 is
until
the
week 1.
best.
They want to make week
I
0
got bad
week
news
1.
for you, Jack.
Brian Kelly gets to lose.
Notre
week 0.
Dame's playing.
They are playing
No,
the U on
you're-
Sunday.
You'll be fine. Saturday the 23rd, you'll be missing out on Iowa State at Kansas State. Kansas 3.5 point favorite.
What about Guardians, Tigers without Chase
Tigers,
Water
baby.
still?
You'll be well. How about that on August 23rd? That's the last Browns preseason game, by the way. Will we still be waiting on Chase DeLauder and CJ Kafis?
I pray to God not. We're talking about the young guys on the Browns. We'll get into more young guys on the guards coming back.
Dude, that's the thing real quick is like, imagine when I go on Twitter the last couple of days, every single tweet is either Chase DeLauder or hashtag the promotion.
Yep.
Could you imagine Dylan Gabriel comes in the second half of relief for the first time of Joe Flacco, right? And let's say he just stinks the joint up, throws 2 picks, doesn't even start a game yet. That next week on Twitter, you're going to see so much Shedeur Sanders propaganda. You wouldn't even believe it. It's going to be, they're all going to be up.
I'm gonna do the whole Big Play Cleveland show that following
just
Monday.
gonna be-
My
it's just
wrist
gonna be
is
up, yeah.
Right
You're
here.
getting
I'll be
rigor
right here
mortis.
with
Just
it.
have it just sitting there.
Man, more about the Guardians prospects coming up after this on the Big Factor. Welcome back into the Big Factor, guys. And honestly, we were going to talk some guards, and we will in just a moment. But honestly, it's too hot to be talking guards. The guards are so ice cold in the dead of summer. Honestly, we're looking forward to college football at this point, fellas.
So we're talking about this Browns preseason schedule. The last preseason game, August 23rd, Huntington Bank Field, steps away from our studio at Burke. But we also found out that it's college football week 0. The only game that we'll miss is the noon kick, which honestly, if we wanted to pregame tailgate here at Burke, we actually could here in the
Irish
lounge and then
coffees?
walk over at noon in Ireland, Iowa State, Cyclones at Kansas State. Woo! Kansas State, Jack, in this game, 3.5 point favorites, but you disclosed to the crew at the break that Kansas State is on your no bet list.
Damn.
So we might have to have a June 25th where we are officially less than 1 full month away. We got to get through the month of July. Then August will be here. College football will be here. Are we locking in Iowa State money line today?
Guys, it actually already is official. I already locked it in.
Oh my god.
Clones money line, guys. Oh, 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 we are Cyclones. Oh. Fuck you, Avery Johnson. We're coming. Come on. Big 12 football, baby.
Oh my god.
Salante.
Lord. It's only 3.5 too, the opening line.
Yeah.
Aviva Stadium, Dublin,
Yeah.
Ireland,
Joey-
noon
beautiful
kick.
Joey and I just talked about
ESPN.
this. So Kansas State guys, they have this thing, and I swear this is true. If you bet on Kansas State football, they will look like the Cleveland Browns every single time. Like they will lose to Kansas, whatever random ass Big 12 team you could think of. But then the second you're like, oh, Cam Rising,
Let me lock
Utah. I know the exact game is grained in my head. The second you're like, oh, Utah, they've been great all year, 1 loss, they're 9-1. Oh, Kansas State, they've screwed me over 15 times. Yeah, easy 14.5. Shit blown out by him. Kansas State, they were pure on the no bet train last year. So this year, we're going to go right ahead, week 0, start it out early, take them down. And then Sunday, the best part of week 0, guys, every single year is betting on Brian Kelly to lose Sunday night because it's happened 3 years in a row. So be ready for that.
Honestly,
Little
too,
new-
like
little-
they had those Guinnesses on the broadcast too, and everyone was freaking out that they were having a beer on the broadcast.
Yeah.
on ESPN.
Little news from
Man.
Brian Windhorst here. The Cavs' price for Kevin Durant was multiple first-round picks for Darius Garland. So you would have got Kevin Durant and multiple first-round picks.
Okay.
And the Suns were not unwilling. It was just the fact that Kevin Durant wasn't really feeling Cleveland. So they opted for the Houston packages. KD got his way and he got to go to the Rockets.
Rob's feeling it.
Guys,
right
But
now.
we
don't
would have
Rob's
got
feeling this
for
right now.
Darius Garland, you would have got multiple first round picks and Kevin Durant. Windhorst says that the Suns were not unwilling to
Actually
make
might
that
shed
trade
a tear.
happen.
Oh my god. Oh
Man.
my god.
Don't
We
you-
would have fleeced. Oh no.
Could have fleeced.
Don't you guys almost have to trade DG now? Like,
Yeah.
like not in like I'm saying
His
from a
value
basketball
is that
perspective,
high. Get him out tomorrow.
Right.
Coming off a toe injury.
but also like now that he's hearing like, hey, like the trade you almost got traded. His confidence, like it's gonna be a story all year long. You're gonna get reports every single time he has 13 points. It's gonna be like, oh, like his confidence. They said they're gonna trade him in the offseason. This he had the toe. Like you gotta just.
You got to have some
Nip it and trade him,
humility
right?
as a player. You are Darius Garland,
Yeah.
and you almost got traded for Kevin Durant and multiple first-round picks, bro. Any player's just got to accept that that's an insane deal. I can see why KD doesn't want to come here, but well, I actually don't. He must not want to win. He must want to live somewhere warm. But I mean that hurts. That really hurts. It's making me. It's tugging at the heartstrings. But there's been some other big trades going on in the NBA that we should touch on. The Celtics just completely.
How about the
tearing it
minivan?
down, bro.
How about the minivan?
the minivan.
Stock up.
the GW.
I mean, we traded. So it was Porzingis just for George Niang. Did they get
Basically, yeah.
they gave up picks too to take that?
Yeah,
contract?
so
They
it's
did, yeah.
Porzingis in a second went to the
Lord,
Hawks. Terrence Mann and pick number 22 to the Nets, and then the minivan. Nick, what'd you call him?
Bang bang George Niang.
Bang, George
Heads
Niang.
off with a second round pick. Sorry, to the Celtics.
I have a vision that George Niang is going to be very good on the Celtics.
Just give
George
it-
Niang's
annoying.
going to
Give
be
it
very
an extra
annoying on the
year when they
Celtics.
somehow have AJ DeMonsa and Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have Anthony Simons coming into his own, finally not shackled in the depths of
Right.
Portland, and all of a sudden they're looking like a juggernaut again, and then Niang is just hitting game-winning threes versus the Cavs to
And
send
just
us home.
barking at the people that are courtside at Rocket Arena.
His
I
dumbass like set shot too.
could
Could
totally
this
see
be
it.
the Cavs soon though if we do not figure it out? If you're stuck in that middle portion and Donovan's like, all right, I'm done. Are
It's
we
next
gonna be
year, Rob.
Yeah,
It's next
that's
year.
What I'm saying.
Because if you look at Donovan's contract, he committed to Cleveland long term. Yes, we all were doing cartwheels about that, and deservedly. That made the trade worthwhile. The
what
trade
did we
with the
do with
Utah
it?
Jazz trade was a good one. Donovan Mitchell committed to Cleveland. It was official that day that the Cavs won that trade with the Utah Jazz. But the thing is that extension put the Cavs on Donovan Mitchell's timeline, not Evan Mobley's timeline. You've got to win. Your window is this season. You've got to do something meaningful this season because you're not going to want to lose Donovan Mitchell for nothing. So you're in a situation like Boston where if you don't get it done this year, this upcoming season for the Cavs, then 2027, you're having that uncomfortable conversation about Donovan not being long for Cleveland, and it would be the organization trying to get something for him.
We might see the Pacers tap out in this same manner, knowing that the team, you're going to have to pay some guys, but it'll kind of be for naught because you won't be competing. So now TJ McConnell and them great players, Benedict Mathurin, people that might be needing to get paid or extended are not, because if you're not competing for a championship in a league, you're doing nothing. You need to just tank. That's really the smart analytics thing. 76ers started it a while ago. Everyone across all leagues is kind of starting to accept it a little bit. It is what it is, man. I just don't want to see the Cavs go out like that. Yep. And then we got to trade Evan Mobley because all of a sudden he doesn't want to be here for scraps, and we get a first-round pick and a Jalen Green level player because now we're stuck in a bind.
The hard part about that, too, is with Evan Mobley winning Defensive Player of the Year, he is eligible for, I think it's that Supermax, or it's an elevated contract that he's eligible for. Yeah, big bread, like you said. But that kind of handcuffs the Cavs even more, which kind of pushes Darius Garland, people like that, or Jared Allen sort of out the door a little bit. But man, guys, I'm praying that we don't end up in the Celtics situation where we're pushing our main superstar homegrown talent out the door just because of contract situations and things like that. But it was weird to see Darius in those trade talks.
Puts the emphasis on this season. Yes, and what's crazy about this, and I love it too, Pat, because the Cavs know this, right? Like riddle me this for 1 second. Humor me on something, guys. The Cavs were willing to trade Darius Garland, who to this point has been considered a franchise pillar, for Kevin Durant, who's 37 years old. Definitely we'd be willing to say in the back nine of his career, kind of maybe a 1-year rental. Now that we know that we would get the first round picks, you see why that would be attractive to Cleveland. You were willing to make the biggest splash in the NBA this offseason because this Eastern Conference is so wide open. Wait for it, before the Tyrese Halliburton injury happened. Right. So they understand it before Halliburton was even injured, just how there for the taking that this thing is. And then Halliburton got hurt, and you got to believe that it's even more right there for the taking.
In our competitive window, the two teams that have taken you out are done.
Yeah.
It's over. Yep. There's no one in your way. So you need to shore this up. And you need to be aggressive. I know I said the other day that I was scared they're going to be conservative, saying, no. You got to be aggressive. You guys were willing to do that. I know there's a team that wants a center.
Before the Halliburton.
I know there's a team that wants a center. We could get
the Lakers.
If we don't make a trade, if we don't do anything, bring in some talent. Yeah. Shore this up. We need to be the best team without a doubt. I don't want it to be a toss-up like, do they just have enough to take out New York?
Cavs are plus 270, Knicks are plus 300. Come on. I'm ready to be minus 110 to win this Eastern Conference.
That's where we need to be.
Honestly, guys, it's going to be an interesting offseason, too, because we got a lot more to talk about. I think there's going to be a lot of wild trades in the NBA draft tonight. I got a weird hunch that you're going to be locked to the phone tonight.
Giannis to San Antonio,
to San Antonio, baby. Who would they have to trade for him?
I'm saying that's they
number
got so
2 overall.
That's Castle, the pick, and then probably throw in like Keldon Johnson. Okay. But the Bucks, Giannis is starting to talk about how he wants to leave. That's going to turn.
And Damian Lillard too. Like that's how it opens it up.
It'll soon turn into a KD situation where it's like, we got to get something for him, or else he's just going to walk out the door eventually. So, but that would be a great way to start restarting some stuff out there with Dylan Harper on your team. So.
Dylan Harper would be a great addition. Guys, Cavs are kind of handcuffed right now, but so are the Guardians, and we'll get into that next on The Big Factor.
welcome back into the Big Factor. We're waiting on the promotion of Chase DeLauder. So while you're sitting at home waiting on the promotion of Chase DeLauder, you might as well promote your beverage game to our friends over at Garage Beer. Get rid of the rest of those light, crappy beers that you guys are drinking. Get rid of those IPAs. Crack open a Garage Beer this summer. The lime hits different. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer-flavored beer. You can find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Guys, there's no other beer to be drinking this summer. Go get some garage beer before the 4th of July.
I would say, though, Jonathan Rodriguez, when you were playing right field, I would not drink a couple of garage beers beforehand, as you may have yesterday before fumbling that ball in right field.
How often do you see a double error? Like, it was an error on the catch, and then getting back, he drops the baseball again. Like, that dude.
He had one bad one last year, though, similar to that.
But he literally banana peeled last year.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
So crazy.
It's kind of like when Miles Straw got called back up last year and got picked off first base. Just one of those things you feel really bad about when it happens.
Well,
guys, we're past the point where it's even funny at this point, right? I mean, another great day out of Chase DeLauder yesterday. 19 walks to 11 strikeouts since making the move to AAA. He hits left-handed pitching. He hits right-handed pitching. What the hell are we waiting on?
Bring him up. Hashtag the promotion.
It's, I was staying quiet about it because for a couple of reasons. One, because the Guardians of all, I continue to say this, the Guardians of all of the sports teams here in Cleveland have the most responsible front office, the most put together, level-headed. They don't overreact. They don't panic. They do a tremendous job keeping the car on the road, keeping the team competitive. The other piece of this, too, is Chase DeLauder is a prospect that has battled a lot of injuries. So there was an element of, let's see this guy in Columbus. Let's let him really get his legs back under him. But now you see the performances that he's continued to put on for the last 14 days plus, and it's starting to get disrespectful. It's starting to get disrespectful to Cleveland baseball fans, who are some of the smartest fans that are out there, and it's also disrespectful to Chase DeLauder himself. This is no longer an issue of, club control. It's no longer an issue of slotting and trying to manipulate service time. Like, this is incompetence at the highest degree. You've got Jonathan Rodriguez, who is an unplayable major league outfielder, standing in right field, starting for the baseball team on a daily basis. And then you've got Chase DeLauder and CJ Kayfus both in Columbus, absolutely raking. What's the initiative here? Is the game plan to win games in Columbus? If so, we're doing a phenomenal job. Are we trying to? Does AAA have an All-Star game? Because we would send a bunch of players.
They got a home run derby too.
To the AAA All-Star game and to the AAA home run derby. I'm trying to have representatives for the All-Star game and the home run derby in Cleveland, because I know when you've got that, and I've seen it at times throughout my life, when you've got Shane Bieber, Corey Kluber, the pitching, but then also the bats that are all-stars as well, you pretty much got a good team. You got a team that could hang with the likes of the big boys, the Tigers, the Yankees in this American League Central. But what I'm seeing right now is completely unserious.
So,
Jack.
We had a quick talk about this before, and I really want to hear you expand upon this. Our guy, Matt Fontana, he was like, I'm sick of seeing everyone talk about hashtag the promotion. Didn't say hashtag the promotion, but he's saying, just because we call some guys up, that doesn't mean they're going to be good. And then he mentions Oscar Gonzalez and John Kenzie Noel, who were big promotions and then, fizzled out a little bit. What do you have to say to that point about being too hasty to call up prospects?
Yeah, I think DeLauder's a different level of prospect from what either of those guys were at any point in time. And, man, it's just like he's also – I think he's 24 years old now, so it's about time to find out about the guy. And it's just like, I don't know. I tend to agree, actually, with what Matt Fontana said in general. Like, when you look at it, names aside from everything going on, like, you do have to wait a little bit on prospects sometimes. And you don't want to put pressure on the kid, because odds are, and hey, I could be wrong, I don't think at the end of this season we're going to be looking at Chase DeLauder's stat line as being 285 with 15 bombs and 65 RBIs in 4 months or so. Like, I think Chase DeLauder's going to come up and play probably better ball than we've seen from a rookie in a while, but I don't think he's going to change around the season or elevate the team from fringe wild card contenders to Sherlock playoff team. Like I don't really see that, but yeah, I mean Nick said it best. You're past the point where it's even excusable for him to not be in the major leagues right now. I mean, you have to call up Chase DeLauder and at least see what the kid has, because then you can kind of start to make your moves and look towards at least assessing like, hey, what you can move on from to improve other facets of the ball club at the All-Star break or trade deadline rather.
Here's my thing though too, is like talking about this promotion stuff is like we shouldn't even really have to be here though, because Nick, you said that the front office is really good at keeping the car on the road, and I do understand that, but they have made so many awful moves in this offseason leading into the season. You went to the ALCS. You can't really bank on Stephen Kwan hitting 400 for almost the entire season again. Can't really bank on the bullpen being absolutely lights out for 112 games, whatever it was, until they blow a save. You can't really bank on all those things and then sacrifice, Jacob Junis, Paul Sewald. You've got all these guys. You didn't make a move. The only move you had was bringing in Carlos Santana, who's 38, 39 years old, whatever he is, and can hardly field the position. I understand he won a Gold Glove, but defense is not sticky in Major League. So I don't know, Jack, if you have an opinion on that, but winning the Gold Glove, I don't think is really that great of enough of a reason to bring in Carlos Santana.
I wasn't even going to say that. I get bringing in Carlos because when you do get rid of the 30 home run, 100 RBI production of Josh Naylor, you have to be damn sure that you can replicate it the next year. And Carlos plays into the fact that even if Kyle Manzardo happened to bottom out, which he did, and obviously like you were going to get it in some way, shape, or form. But in general, it's just like you had the best bullpen in baseball last year. You had a pretty shitty lineup, to be quite frank, and you had a rotation that was held together by Ben Lively, and you chose to, how are you going to fix that team or improve upon it? Go spend $7.5 million on Paul Sewald, $4.5 million on Jacob Junis. Like it just doesn't make sense in the first place. Like they had to go out and do something to help the lineup, and they just simply didn't do that. But I'm fine with Carlos, honestly. I think it's not Carlos as much as it is that you can't have Carlos, David Fry, and Manzardo. I think Fry might go. Fry needs to go down, by the way.
I agree, because you were banking on another absolute career year from David Fry. He made a fucking All-Star game. Like, how are you banking on David Fry, who came out of absolutely nowhere? Why would you not
talk, Pat?
Why would you not give these at bats? This is like Moneyball, when he's like, I'm gonna play.
Oh, you're in on David Fry?
No, I'm not in on.
Oh, I'm saying I couldn't be further out on.
I'm mostly out on David Fry. What I'm talking about is it's kind of like in Moneyball when he's like, I'm gonna play Pena if I want to play Pena. That should be Kyle Manzardo at first base all of the time. Right-handed, left-handed pitcher doesn't really matter to me. You got to give this kid at bats. You traded for him for a fucking reason. Like,
and if you figure out he's a can, then you have CJ Kayfus ready to go. Exactly. Yeah, play him every day.
I don't understand any of these moves, and that's what frustrates me about talking about the front office, is because they do a really good job of controlling contracts and everything like that. But then it's penny wise, pound foolish, though, because like you save all these years and all of this hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever it is, and then you blow $10 million on Paul Sewald and Jacob Junis to not bring up people like CJ Kayfus and Chase DeLauder. I just don't get it, man.
I will also never understand manipulating service time just to trade them before it even becomes a question every single time.
It frustrates me so much too, because like I think in the NBA too, bringing it all the way back to those trades, that everyone's like, oh, Brad Stevens is a genius. Brad Stevens is a genius. Well, he brought in all of those contracts for Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. I understand that at a certain point you're mortgaging the future to try to win, but sending him out doesn't mean that you're some also genius on both ends of it.
Jose's 32. What are they waiting for?
32.
Yeah,
what are we doing? No Quan extension. Like, I'll get off my soapbox here, but guys, like, I just want them to win it. Chase DeLauder at least brings some excitement. You haven't had a starting right fielder since Shin-Soo Choo, basically,
This
honestly.
is what I
And
need,
even
bro.
Shin-Soo
I need a reason.
Choo.
I need a reason to turn
If
on
he
the
had
phone.
any talent around him, we're not talking about
I'm
Shin-Soo
just
Choo.
trying to watch baseball, and I can't do it because the team fucking
I might
sucks.
chain
Let's be
myself to the
honest,
June
bro.
Tomey statue until
They're
DeLauder gets called up.
trash, bro. And I'm a casual watcher. I'm trying to get into it, but every time I turn on the game, I'm snoring.
Yeah,
It's
the hard
just,
part
like it's terrible. Bro.
Is no
Did
joke.
you see they sent out the season tickets email yesterday too? When Kayfus hits a grand slam in Columbus, DeLauder's out here jumping up over walls, making game-saving catches. He's healthy for the first time in forever, and you just can't call the guy up. It makes no sense because Jonathan Rodriguez needs a look. Damn it!
God, he needs his fourth look in the major leagues, guys. But that's enough.
In the
Guards
first
talk.
three,
I'm
said he
literally-
sucks.
That's
So's
right.
the fourth.
Yeah,
the
so
fourth.
is the fourth.
Early returns are also indicating.
Yeah, I think he's
Too
still,
early to call,
he's still
but-
spinning in right field, guys. But
If he's in
He
right,
fucking blows.
If he's in right field today,
You gonna
man,
heckle him? You gonna walk over? You got standing room or you got seats?
Can I
got
go with you and your
seats.
dad and just like sit and just yell?
Papa Padone. Well, I'll tell you what. My friends and I were in the right field corner, and they yell a hell of a lot more than we do. But oh boy, as people were not pleased in right field seeing a double error from J-Rod. But guys, I think that was enough guards because I'm literally sweating in here. But I think we'll finish it up here on the Big Factor coming up next. Welcome on back in. It's 3,000 degrees in the factory here at Big Factor. In the studio, I should say, guys. But we only got about a minute left. Like, how do you want to talk about the Browns? Madden rating was
All
out
right.
of nowhere.
Do you guys even want to guess ratings? I just have a fact for you. So, allegedly, we're an 87 overall team in Madden, is what all these graphics are saying on Instagram and shit. Our punter is our 8th best friggin' player in Madden, so we're just not.
Bajorquez, baby.
82
Bowler.
overall, 8th best player. Higher or lower on that? Tevin Jenkins.
Lower.
Lower for sure.
Higher.
What?
Our 7th best player in Madden, Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin
What's his
Jenkins.
overall? 83?
83.
Yeah, we suck.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, bro.
Yeah, wrap it up. That's it. They stink.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
Browns Madden rating was 87 for no apparent reason. But guys, it's too hot in here to continue. We gotta wrap it up here on the Big Factor. Tune in tomorrow. I think Ryan will be here, but tune in on Friday for a live one down at Fairway Ford, right, Nick?
Yep.
What time you going live? Is
Yeah,
it 10
10
o'clock?
a.m. 10 a.m. as
Special
normal.
guests
We'll be down
coming
there.
soon
Special
tomorrow.
Yeah,
as well.
tomorrow, big guest.
Okay.
Big guest getting us ready for the Cavs second round NBA draft reacts with a former top NBA draft pick.
How about that?
Who?
What a tease for that
Who?
one.
Who?
Check in tomorrow.